Hola y bienvenidos. Welcome to Molé Mama Cooking with Love. You're about to join us for our weekly adventure where we chat with entrepreneurs, food bloggers, chefs, and artisans who are helping us connect and learn. And we are spreading love one bite at a time. I have a very special guest with us here today. I have Kate Ramos from Hola Jalapeo, who is going to be talking to us about her amazing food blog, and she's been a chef for quite some time and is cooking amazing food. I found her on Instagram and I've been hooked and following her and inspired by her. So I'm delighted that she agreed to join us today and chat with us about her amazing journey. So with that, I would like to welcome Kate. Hola Jalapeno.
Hola. Thank you for having me.
It is so great to have you here. So first of all, I absolutely love your name. So could
Thank you.
you tell our listeners, I think it might be connected to your hubby, but could you tell our listeners how you came up
It's
with this name?
actually connected to my daughter, especially
Oh,
when it's kind of a long story. I'll try to make it brief, but it also ties into how I started the blog. So my husband and I were living in San Francisco. We got married and I had a baby. And at that time, I had gotten out of the restaurant business, but was working as a food editor for a website called chow.com, which is now called chowhound.com. Anyway, my husband is an artist and a professor, and he was working adjunct at several colleges around the Bay Area. And it was just a crazy time, and it was hard with the baby. And so he started looking anywhere and everywhere for a full-time professorship job. And he got hired at this small liberal arts college to run as a chair of the art department in North Dakota. And so at that time, I thought, I never see my husband. I barely see, like I was working to pay for childcare. Essentially, I don't get to spend that much time with my baby. This sounded like a wonderful thing to be able to just be at home with her and live a more simple life. And so we moved to North Dakota, and I did love being at home and having the flexibility and spending all the time, and raising my own children was the blessing. But I also really missed the cooking and writing about food and food photography and styling and all the stuff that I was doing at my job. And so I decided to start the blog as a creative outlet. Really I had no intentions of making it a business or turning it into anything other than just a way for me to do something else besides, raise my baby. And I really didn't even think at all about what I was going to write about. It really started out as like, I would make dinner, I would take a picture of it, and that was it. Not a lot of thought. And it eventually turned into many of the recipes were Mexican recipes, because my husband is Mexican American, and we were really missing that food because there was not anything available in North Dakota. So if we wanted something of those Mexican flavors, I was going to have to make it at home. And so I really started, I knew about Mexican cooking. I had worked in restaurants in California. Mostly, I was usually the only a Caucasian, a white woman in the kitchen, and I speak fluent Spanish. And so I really learned a lot about Mexican cuisine from all over Mexico, because a lot of the people that I worked with were from all parts of Mexico. And that's kind of where my love affair with Mexican cooking started, was in restaurant kitchens. But then, when we moved to North Dakota, I really wanted to share that with my children. And if anyone was going to teach them, it was going to be me, because, we lived far away from family, etc. And so Hola Jalapeno was like, it was like I was introducing myself to the Mexican flavors, right? So it was like, Hola Jalapeno, here I am. Like, teach me what you can. And so that's kind of where it started.
I love it.
It is a formation of just kind of throwing myself into this cuisine and food and culture that we love.
That is fantastic. I lived in Anchorage, Alaska for 3.5 years. So I know what you mean. There was no
Yeah.
Mexican food,
Yeah.
nothing.
No, and unfortunately, I don't think too much of it has changed. We lived there for 7 years, and eventually found a really small Mexican market that was in Fargo, or actually, it was in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is like the sister city. But they were rarely open. It was like you could, and that was an hour away from where we lived. But we would make frequent trips to Minneapolis to just grocery shop, which was 5 hours away.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have to know, because you've been a chef and now you've got this amazing blog. How did you start cooking? Was it something that you learned at home with family?
I have been cooking basically since I could reach the counter. It was just really something I don't. It was just something I was good at. I just got it, and I loved it immediately. And I grew up. My parents were divorced. I lived with my father, and he worked full time, and so I would just do stuff. Like I started making dinner for my family when I was probably 10, and it wasn't anything gourmet. It was like hot dogs, or like spaghetti with like the jarred sauce. But I just loved creating stuff in the kitchen and playing and experimenting. And I had the free will. Like I didn't have anyone saying to me, don't do that. No one was there. So I've always loved it. And ever since I could get a job, I started working in restaurants when I was 14, like washing dishes and prepping vegetables. I just knew that was God's gift to me. And I knew that was it. And I never wanted to do anything else. I mean, for a while I wanted to be a photojournalist, and because I thought like cooking is easy. Like that's not something I would do for a job. Like a job's got to be difficult,
Right.
And so, and I loved photography. I still love photography, and I love shooting all the images on my site. But when I decided to go to college, I went to the University of Missouri in Columbia for their journalism program because I was going to be a photojournalist. And I got there and I was like I don't want to talk to people. I want to be in a kitchen cooking, and I realized like I'm very introverted. I'm not going to be someone shooting, like putting a camera in people's faces. That's not who I am. And so it ended up, all the photography classes that I took over the years ended up helping me now in what I do. But cooking was always it. And so I ended up changing majors from photojournalism to hotel and restaurant management. So that was my degrees in business management.
What a journey you had.
Yeah.
And cooking dinner at age 10 for your
Yeah,
family.
I look at my daughter now who's 11 and I'm like, man, will you start? When are you going to start? But she doesn't, I mean, I'm probably way too bossy in the kitchen. So that's probably my fault. But
That's okay. Okay, so you started working in restaurants, you ended up going to school, and then you ended up as a chef in Northern California, I read. You worked at one of my favorite restaurants at Mustard's. I have to give a shout out because I love that place so much.
Yeah, that's where I met my husband as well.
And so you met your husband, and did he influence your cooking as far as?
So in certain ways, for sure. I mean, he's a good cook too. And I think his family have influenced my cooking. I mean, they all live in Texas, and we've never lived close to them, but we would go visit, and his aunt was an amazing cook. And so it was more like just by looking, by watching and seeing what she was doing. His mom she makes amazing pozole, and she has her dishes, like we go there and the kids are like, we need, like it's her rice, like Nana's rice is like, so there's things like that I've picked up from his family. And I think more he wanted things. So he would say like, can you make this, blah, blah. And then I would go look it up and see, and I would make it, and he would be like, nah. And then I change it. So in that way, yeah, for sure. Just out of a desire to, show him love through food. And which is how I show love. So
Me too. I can totally relate.
yeah. So, and I wanted him to be, I wanted our home to feel like, a nurturing place that was full of comforting and familiar things, especially when we were living in North Dakota and we had no family and we felt very isolated. And so it was really important for me to create the things that made him feel at home, and also to share those things with our kids is super important because, I want them to know what that side of their culture means and what it tastes like.
There's something very special about, I think, Mexican mom's rice. I feel the same way.
I know I can't do it. I don't. I feel like I make it exactly the same way, and my kids are like, "No, sorry."
Yeah. No, I've made my mother's rice so many times, and I even don't feel like it's hers. I feel like it smells like hers, but then when you taste it, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I just make it totally different now. I'm like, this is my rice. This is how I do it. It's not going to be Nana's, but
you're claiming it.
Okay. Hopefully it's okay.
Okay. So let's talk about your blog, because you have amazing photographs. I'm on Instagram scrolling down, and then I'll see something of yours and I'll be like, oh, what is that? What did she do?
Thank you.
How do you develop your recipes? Are you just
so I think when you've been cooking as long as I have, I can just taste the flavors in my head.
Oh.
And I just think it's over time, you just develop this sense of flavors that go together really well. And what I love to do now is kind of combine my life into the food. So a lot of times I don't make things super authentic. I like to take the flavors of the different parts of my life and kind of blend them together into something new and unique. And so, I work with the Mexican pantry a lot because I love those flavors. But, I'll make something that also reminds me of my grandmother who made insanely delicious pie or potato salad, very Midwestern. I'm from Iowa originally. And so she was a very Midwestern cook, but made really delicious home cooked, chicken noodle soup and things like that. And I love combining that side of myself with, my husband's Mexican influence and creating something new that is a little bit healthier and unique and different and really reflects who I am now as who I've become.
So do your children taste test, or does your husband
for sure. Yeah. No, yeah, he definitely. Everything I make, we eat for the most part. My husband is lactose intolerant, so sometimes I just need to make something with cheese, and he can't have that, and then I'll give that to my neighbors. But yeah, no, we eat 100% of what I make. I would never make anything that I wouldn't want to eat myself. And a lot of that stuff gets tested several times. So by the end, they're usually tired of it.
I know my poor neighbors, because my children, like I said, don't live with us anymore. And oh my gosh, I'm always giving food to my neighbors. They're just like, okay, I have chimichangas. I have, it's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your most popular recipes? I love, by the way, on your site that you have 10 recipes for this week, and you curate recipes, which is really fun.
Yeah, I started doing that a long time ago because I was doing that for myself. Just to get through the week, I need a plan of some sort. I hate Tuesday, tonight at 6 p.m. being like, oh, what's for dinner? Or making the same things over and over again. And I really love cooking and trying other people's recipes and getting inspired. Other food bloggers inspired me greatly. And so I have, just a real joy for searching for new stuff too. I always want to make something new and different. So I was doing that for myself and making these lists, and I'm like, why am I not sharing this with people? There has to be someone else out there that, would love to have a list. There's 10 recipes because I always think always there's going to be something on there that people don't like. Maybe people hate chicken, or they're vegetarian, or they're whatever. So at least there's maybe 3 every week that will speak to people. And I cook dinner every single night. I don't know if I'm unique in that. I feel like maybe I am. I feel like that's normal, but I think a lot more people eat out more than they cook at home, but we don't really eat out all that much, maybe on the weekend once. And so I like to have a plan. And I thought, well, I'm already doing this for myself. I might as well share that with people and hopefully inspire, something new, or maybe introduce people to a blog they've never heard of before. So
yeah, I saw that you had some of Dora's table stuff on
oh
there.
yeah, I
I've
love
had her on my podcast.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
she has great recipes too, and I love that they're vegan.
Yeah.
Like I said, my husband can't have dairy, and so I make a lot of her stuff because it's really delicious and dairy free. So
Okay, but on your website, what are some of your most popular recipes that you created?
So people really go crazy over my bean recipes.
I was gonna say, I saw your beans.
People love my beans. I don't really know. I feel like they're regular beans, but everyone goes crazy every time I put up a bean recipe, which is wonderful because I love beans of all sorts. It's just such good comfort food, and they're good for you.
Yes.
And my margaritas, I'm a huge fan of tequila, so there's a few margarita recipes on there that people really enjoy and are always coming back for.
You have a link for Margarita Week, right?
Yes. I don't know if I'm going to do it again this year. This year would have been our 5th year, but last year got a little out of control with like people sending me margaritas like left and right, and I could not keep track of all of them, and I was like, I think this is getting to be too much, but it's super fun, and I love seeing the creativity because people will send it's a conglomeration of food bloggers, so I just ask people like, hey, contribute a margarita recipe and we'll share it during the week. It's the week leading up to Cinco de Mayo, and then ideally on Cinco de Mayo you have like 200 margarita recipes to choose from, which is way more than anyone needs, but that's great because it also kicks off the summer season, which I feel is like margarita time. So it gives you plenty to choose from all summer long. But yeah, I'm a huge tequila fan, so we've got a few margarita recipes on there that everyone really loves. And I think people really enjoy the slow cooker. I have most of my slow cooker recipes are big hits too, which now the Instapot has kind of taken over, but I think the slow cooker is really a helpful, handy tool for especially busy people during the week. So people really like those recipes as well.
And do you have a favorite recipe that you?
They're all my favorite. I wouldn't put something up that I don't love. Let's see. One that we make over and over again. I have a classic carne asada recipe that is actually my husband's, but I don't think I credit him. But that's one we make all the time, which is just so simple and delicious. As beer braised flank steak, and there's like garlic, and he rubs lime juice and lime zest, and so good. We love that, and that's one of that we make all the time. And what else? Oh, there's these chicken empanadas that we love too, that are really easy. And the chicken is I cook the chicken with chipotle and saffron, which is a weird combination, but it's really delicious.
I have to go find that recipe. That sounds amazing.
We make those a lot. And then I use puff pastry instead of making my own dough, so it's easy and I can make it during the week.
Very nice. Okay, so we've been talking about your blog and also about your Instagram account, but please share with our listeners all the different ways that they can connect with you, because you have a lot of channels.
Yeah, no, I'm basically everywhere except on TikTok because I'm not 14. But, I'm at Hola Jalapeo everywhere, Twitter, Facebook. Oh no, Facebook is Hola Jalapeo Recipes.
Okay.
But Instagram, Hola Jalapeo. Obviously my blog and Pinterest at Hola Jalapeo.
Okay, listeners, you have to check her out. I'm telling you, you're going to love all of her stuff. And yeah, I'm super excited about her beans. I think I've shared your beans as stories because I'm like, I love beans too.
Yeah, me too.
So what have been some of the biggest surprises since you've started Hola Jalapeo, which wasn't really a business, it sounded like from earlier in our chat? So
no, I mean, I think the biggest surprise to me is that it is a business now.
Okay.
That I was able to create something just from my love of food and cooking and my love for my family, that was enough to create a business that, it's not the business part of it isn't the most important part to me, but that I still am able to share these recipes, and that they spark joy in people, and they inspire people to get into the kitchen and to cook with me, and that I've been able to create relationships with readers who have found something that they love within them. And that is just so special to me. And, that makes my day. That's just it. That's what I do it for. But really, it's, like I said in the beginning, I was just writing stuff down, really. And it's been the feedback from the readers and just all the love and support from people who following along that have encouraged me to really keep going and make it better and try new things and get the word out. Because I think that for me, and I think a lot of women can identify, that the hardest part for me is believing in myself and wanting to tell people about what I'm doing, and wanting to tell people that what I'm doing is important and good. And like getting over that hurdle of self-doubt is definitely the hardest part of having your own business and trying to sell yourself, which I don't really look at it as selling myself, but I look at it as spreading the word about what I'm doing. So it's been the encouragement of people saying that they've tried the recipe and they loved it and their family loved it. I mean, that's just, to know that people make the recipes is really just means the world to me.
I absolutely agree with you. I love seeing people making our crunchy tacos. That's what people make of my stuff. That's the biggest thing. And I'm a digital marketer by day. So it's really amazing to me that I've had such a hard time marketing myself. So
Yeah,
I could do so what you said was, I completely relate to that.
I've been doing this for a really long time. Like, I started the blog 10 years ago. And I think it took me like a good 5 years to be like, oh, I should probably tell someone that I'm doing this. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to.
Oh, but your stuff,
and it's like, now I'm like, whatever.
It's amazing. It's fantastic. You've done a remarkable job, and you're providing so much value. And I think anytime we can encourage people to find joy, and if that's in the kitchen, that's a really positive, wonderful thing for our world. So you mentioned a little bit about your challenges, but are there any other challenges you want to share with our listeners about having this for 10 years?
Well, I think other than just getting over myself, the other challenge is this business just changes so fast. 15 years ago, what I do didn't exist. What you do didn't exist. That wasn't a job. And even 10 years ago when I started, it was not what it is now. And just trying to constantly keep up with the technology side of it, and the changes that are being made with social media. And, that's just, it's a daily struggle. Not really a struggle, but just a constant reinventing your idea of what you should be doing, and just constantly trying to keep up with the changes and be informed. And, it's fun, but you have to have an open mind. And sometimes you get like stuck in a rut, and then it's something new has taken over, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, all that work I did for that thing doesn't even matter anymore. So let's go on to this new thing. That also makes it exciting and fun. And, I just love connecting with people. And so it's a challenge, but I do enjoy it. It keeps my mind going. So
it's great. I was on TikTok for a day. That's all I could do. So I can completely relate.
I know eventually I'll probably have to go there.
Me too.
Really
Me too.
Really pulling back. I'm just fighting that one. I don't know. Snapchat was never for me either. I just don't feel that's not my audience. And possible. And also the other thing is like really knowing that you don't have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are some things that I'm good at and there's some things that I'm not good at. And I don't beat myself up for the things that I'm not good at.
So do you have any other advice for our listeners who are thinking about starting their own business or currently have a business of their own that you've learned?
Don't give up.
That's great.
You know, it's challenging. It really is. And, you know, I wake up every day being super grateful to even have this opportunity to share my creations with the world and be in a creative field and do what I love every single day. And most of it from my pajamas at my house. And, you know, I'm hugely blessed. Most people do not get to, you know, live their life in this way, but it also, you have to hustle all the time. And so, you know, there are certainly days that I'm like, it's hard. It's too hard. And I want to quit, but you can't quit. If you want to be a creative person and, you know, live your life in that field, you have to greet every day as a new day and start fresh. And, you know, my husband is an artist. I am a food blogger. You know, we don't live a conventional life. There's a lot of things that we've had to sacrifice to be able to live this way. But I think in the end, it's a beautiful blessing. I wouldn't change it.
So inspiring. That is so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And before we say our goodbyes to each other today, is there anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, I just encourage people to go to the site, check it out, leave me a comment, you know, take a look around, check me out on Instagram. I love hearing from people. If anyone has, you know, any suggestions for recipes they're looking for, or, you know, I love hearing from readers. So check me out.
Please check her out. And from me, please make more beans.
I know. I'm waiting for a bean recipe. I agree. I will. I'm going to.
Okay. All right. Well, it has been an absolute joy to speak with you today, Kate, from Hola Jalapeo. I love saying your name of your brand. It's so cute. And I hope that you continue to shine brightly and inspire us to go into our kitchens and cook for our families and our friends. And for our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast. Remember to add the most important ingredient to every recipe you make, your love. And as my mama always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.